So lots of questions. When you say you're focused on brands, is it from an aspect of you go in and acquire the brand outright, or you're partnering with these brands and helping them grow? I guess maybe be the first question.
Yeah, I mean, our standard SOP is that we acquire a brand outright, and we, have various deal structures and mechanisms to reward founders for upside and keep them engaged. But I think, one thing about us is we just try to be really creative. Like we want to find good products. We want to find businesses that we'd like to be involved with. We think a lot and look a lot at people. The founders who started the business, are they really consumer and product focused? Are they trying to solve a problem? Are they passionate about what they do? And I would say when we find the right business, we want to find a way to be involved. And so I wouldn't say that any option is really off the table. We typically acquire a business outright. We would certainly consider other structures. Our main goal is to get involved, with brands that and products that we see, as having a lot of upside, both from the economic standpoint, but also in terms of just brand equity and ability to build relationships directly with customers. So yeah, we try to be really creative and understand what's important to the other side of the deal, and understand the goals of any specific founder and sort of craft a deal based on that.
Gotcha. And so, are you looking in particular niches, or is it just whatever comes along? If it meets whatever criteria you have, you go for it. Or are you just trying to corner a particular area or areas?
Yeah, we're pretty diverse right now. Elena, do you want to talk a little bit about this? I know, you could probably articulate this better than I.
Yeah, we have. I mean, we're to Andrew's point. We're pretty diverse right now. We're in a bunch of different categories. So we have some CPG, some wellness, some kids clothing. We've been in automotive, home goods. I think what we're really excited about is the opportunity to serve a bunch of different customers, and with that comes, from my side of things on the operating side of the business, a lot of different creative challenges as well, and a lot of different expressions of a brand. And so that's been really exciting for us. It's a really good thing for the teams to keep them really inspired and motivated. And it's been really fun also, going back to your previous question, to get the teams in some cases with the brands and the founders that we're working with. A huge component of this in some cases is it's really important to the founders to make sure that their team continues to have work and stay close to the business. And so in some cases, we've brought those team members with us. And so we've met amazing talent through that. And so it's exciting to have a portfolio that has a lot of different opportunities, and we're finding that through that it's given our team a lot of really high excitement and different challenges and problems to sort of unpack, and it makes the workday exciting because you're working on a bunch of different things.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I would say, like, temporally, at some point, I think we will be more focused on certain categories. I think, for now, we're really looking for, again, great products, great brands, businesses with the right fundamentals. And so we don't want to narrow the aperture just yet. But, I've operated businesses like this for a couple of decades. As well as anybody how difficult, they are to run. And so there's a certain point at which it makes sense to start being more category centric, because you can get real leverage there on sort of the hard aspects of the business. And so I certainly see ourselves doing that, but right now we're very diverse, and like Elena said, it's interesting and exciting to be involved with a bunch of different customer sets, and we've actually found that from a team perspective and attracting the right talent and creating an environment where people like really love what they're doing, especially on the creative side, it's really helpful with that to have variety and have a bunch of different lenses to put on sort of the problem of customer inspiration.
Gotcha. So one of the things I just perceive being really difficult with running these aggregators, I ask the same kind of question to a lot of the aggregators, is building that team. I mean, like you said, it's a little bit harder than it maybe looks to do this. I think that, on the surface, it's like, oh, we're just running an Amazon brand. They do all the pick, pack, and ship and customer service. And it's like really not that difficult, but there's quite a bit more nuance to it than that. And I think a lot of it is in the brand itself. It's like knowing your customers as well as the original brand owner did, and how and why things got to where they were, and all the stupid mistakes they made beforehand that didn't quite work out, and the knowledge that's in their brain, and losing that component when you buy a business out 100%, I think is difficult. But it sounds like you do at least bring over the internal team that was there, but for the most part, the CEO steps aside and goes off in the sunset.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I think that I think that the founders and operators of these businesses are one of the sort of most underappreciated groups out there in terms of like the skill and the dedication and the drive and the hard work that it takes to run these businesses. I do, we come at this from an operating background. So, I've run e-commerce businesses in different contexts for 20 years. The team that we're building have all done that. And so, I think we have a high level of recognition of what it takes to be successful. And I think others in this space have that as well, but many come at it more from sort of the finance and capital markets angle, and are kind of learning that. And so, I just want to take the opportunity to say that, like, we're in awe of founders. And I think myself personally, like people that can take something from 0 to 1 in that way, and that have, the grit and determination and just fungible skill set to be super successful on the Amazon platform. Like, it's amazing. And that's one of the things that I've been just like really pleasantly surprised by and just energized by is the ability to talk to hundreds of founders at this point, and just the level of quality that's out there it's incredible, and it's really inspiring. And so I think we come at it from the standpoint of, we're not trying to replace what founders do, right? We're not arrogant to the point that we think that we would do everything better. We're trying to sort of capture the magic that they brought to their brand and surround it, with enterprise level cross-functional resources. And so, to your point, we do that in a variety of ways. We try to inherit, the DNA of the company when it makes sense. All of our founders, I would say, Elena, keep me honest, but I think all of our founders are still engaged, at least strategically, and will be, for a period of time, in helping us build the brand. So we try to keep the tribal knowledge that way. And then, in terms of the team that we hire and we build, we look for people that we feel like are founder analogs in terms of how they're wired and their experience. And then other places in the org, we look for people that are, enterprise scale and can, do things that at a certain scale an individual founder, would struggle with. But, I can't say enough how impressed we've been just with the quality and performance of founders in general that are out there running these Amazon businesses. It's really remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, I always find myself jealous of a lot of these founders. You come from the operating background. I come from a marketing background. I couldn't design a stick figure if I needed to. It's like, it's so embarrassing. I mean, I can go to the Canton Fair and find random crap on the shelves and put our name on it and market it well. But I'm always in awe of like the people who make truly unique products and really connect to the community. Usually I think the best product's always born out of like some personal struggle or need, that I can't relate to, and so they have that relation. You mentioned some like kids brands. We don't have kids, so it's like, how do you really like do a kids brand? We have a kids brand. I feel like we do it like poorly because of that, right? And it's like, even though we had a successful coloring brand, it was like still hard to relate to old women in their house, like coloring, by their window and trying to pass some time. It's always difficult, but like I find like the most successful, most interesting founders and brands are always people that had something that they could relate to themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, Elena, you can check me on this, but I think like one thing we really try to do internally and like a core philosophy in our team culture is to try to be really low ego and humble, and like look for areas that we don't do things as well as somebody else, and figure out like, how do we set the brand up for success, given that realization? How do we put the right resources around it? And so each brand is unique. Like you said, there's certain product spaces that, somebody on the team, they're that customer, they understand it. Like we're, ready to hit the ball out of the park on that one. And there's others that, we don't understand as well. And those are the ones where we look, to try to retain more of that, the DNA from the team that's been running and growing the brand. So we try to do that very thoughtfully, on a brand level. But, you mentioned earlier, you mentioned too, and not to just kind of go off, but this is something that gets me really excited. Like, so when we started this adventure, it was just all about, building this kind of screener as a system, and we have that, and it's very data driven, and you're looking at all these numbers. And I just quickly realized getting into it, it's like you can learn so much from a conversation with a founder about the quality of their business. And like, we really, exactly like you described, like people that have set out, they're maniacal about solving this customer problem, right? Because it matters to them in some way. And they've identified, this gap in the market, and, by gosh, they're gonna make a better widget to solve this. And so they like come from this standpoint of like customer, pain and wanting to ease that, or, create more customer joy. And those are the types of businesses that we really like to see. We see a lot of other businesses where, when you talk to founders, it's clear like their goal from the beginning was to create an Amazon storefront, and that was sort of the end product for them was to create an Amazon business. And there's nothing wrong with that, and there's some great businesses there. But from our perspective, like, we really look for the people whose eyes light up when they're talking about their product, and they can walk you through like, here's the 15 iterations that it took to get to here, and like how I saw, they just love talking about it. And so we feed off of that energy a lot, and it's actually a signal that that we use a lot in our deal evaluation process.